with that, let me turn it over to Chair Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chairman Lander. And first of all, I would like to welcome Ms. Joshi and the family who also are here with her today. I know this is a great day when any of us have this opportunity to be evaluated, to have the opportunity to have a major role, especially as a TLC commissioner. My first question is, how have your experience as a TLC prepared you to become the chair, and what are the challenges that you see in this industry?
My experience as the TLC's general counsel has given me a deep familiarity of all of the rules, as well as the rulemaking process, which is critical to setting policy. And that is the process of staff developing the rule, the comment process, incorporating public comment, revising the rule, and working with commissioners to final approval. That is a large part of the regulatory agency's function, so having an extremely good handle on that process is key to the role as a chair. Some of the priorities for the agency, I think there's really three. There's many priorities, but sort of three that are uppermost in my mind. And number one is safety. The administration has made a laudable commitment through the Vision Zero plan to improve traffic safety. The TLC licenses over 100,000 drivers. There's a significant effect the TLC can have on making that plan a reality. So one of the first challenges is for the TLC to address how to change driver conduct. On the whole, TLC licensed drivers are historically very safe, but the few outliers need to be converted, and that will be the challenge for the chair, who I hope it's me. But and I look forward to working with the council, because I understand there are many pending bills addressing changing driver conduct that will have a greater force than a TLC rule would, and I look forward to that, working with the council on formulating that local legislation.
Some have argued that with the current business model of leasing taxis, some have argued that with the current business model of leasing taxis, many drivers no longer see driving taxi as a long-term occupation, and that professionalism has suffered because of this. What are your thoughts on that model, and do you have any ideas on how to retain drivers long-term?
I agree that it is priority to retain and recruit long-term drivers. Long-term drivers are historically the safest drivers and generate the least amount of customer complaints. So the agency has a vested interest in developing that market. There was a fare increase in the fall of 2013, that about a 17% fare increase, which has helped the drivers take home pay. I think it's increased about 30%. The lease cap system was put in place to protect driver income, and I think that the basic tenet of the lease cap structure is good and should remain. The real work of the TLC is to enforce those rules, because without strict enforcement of the lease cap structure, any gains that drivers make through a fare increase will dissipate. So we have to be very vigilant that the rules that are on the book that are strict about how much an owner can charge leasing to a driver are adhered to.
And you serve under Chair Jaski, and under Chair Jaski, the TLC was very aggressive in its changing of the taxi industry. Some might say too aggressive, especially as sometimes the action TLC took was opposed by the industry. What do you think about that statement?
As former general counsel, I can tell you that it's very accurate because the opposition came in the form of litigation. So I have firsthand knowledge of just how frequently the industry opposed to some of the policy decisions made by the former Chair Yaski and the Commission as a whole. I think that the difference that I may bring to leadership is one about process. I'm a firm believer in process. And there are many competing interests in this industry, all of which need a voice, including those who historically don't get them, and I'm thinking mostly about drivers and passengers. It is the job of the regulator to make sure that we're open to listening to those concerns and incorporating that input in setting policy. The benefit is that becomes long-lasting policy. It's policy that's practical because we've considered industry concerns, and it's also long-lasting because the criticisms that could then later form litigation have already been addressed.
On the accessibility, people in wheelchairs have advocated for many years that the taxi fleet should be made 100% accessible. What would you recommend to ensure that more taxis and for-hire vehicles are available to people in wheelchairs? What do you think of the new dispatch program to meet the need of those with accessibility? Are you committed to implementing the recent court settlement requiring 50% of taxis to be accessible to those with disabilities?
I am committed to equal access. It is one of my priorities, and I commend the deBlasio administration for making a commitment to 50% accessibility. The work ahead for the TLC is to develop the mechanics of how to make that commitment a reality. So I support efforts to convert to 50%. I believe that the dispatch system is up, running, and serving wheelchair passengers very well. As the TLC has added additional wheelchair accessible vehicles to the fleet, the ability of the dispatch system has grown. So when it first started, there were 231 wheelchair accessible cars. 400 wheelchair accessible medallions have recently been sold. As those get on the road, you'll now have a pool of 631 wheelchair accessible cars that can be used in the dispatch system. And the current wait times, I believe, are around 15 minutes. So I think it is a excellent option that that the TLC could continue alongside with conversion.
My last question is one, how do you see black car, yellow car, a pre-arrangement car contributing to Vision Zero plan?
That's an excellent question because the for-hire industry is so much bigger than just taxis. So I think it stems down to one thing, teaching drivers to be safe drivers. And I said earlier, and what I said applies to the black car and livery car world too. Historically, these are safe drivers, but this TLC must, through education, legislation, financial incentives, technology, break unsafe driving patterns. And as with so many pattern-changing initiatives, they're very difficult in the beginning, such as bicycle helmets and seat belts. But once they're done, if they're done consistently, they have a tremendous long-lasting impact on safety.
Great. It's going to be, as you know, first of all, congratulations again on your nomination, and we are looking to hear the other question that my colleague will have. I know that if voted by the body of the City Council, definitely will have a number of questions, many hearings to come related to the taxi limousine industry. Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.